On this episode of YaEat, we're making homemade fresh tomato sauce with spaghetti. This recipe is really easy, really fun, and really delicious. You're not going to want to miss it.
Spend some time with your family and watch this recipe, and make sure you watch to the end.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of YaEat. As usual, I'm really excited to have you here, and I appreciate all of your support. Today, we're going to be making a really simple dish. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not awesome. It's spaghetti with fresh tomato sauce. We're going to pick out some really nice, awesome tomatoes, and then we're going to make a fresh sauce out of it. It's going to be so fresh, it's like you picked the tomato right off the vine and bit into it. This recipe is also very cost effective. So I'm super excited, and I'm ready to make the spaghetti with fresh tomato sauce. Are you ready? Here we go. Print all our recipes on YaEat.tv. So the ingredients that I have for today: vine tomatoes, we have fresh basil, and we have some fresh oregano and fresh parsley from my garden, and we also have some garlic and extra virgin olive oil and salt and pepper, and those are our ingredients. Okay, so we have some really nice vine tomato here. We're going to pull them off the vines, and we're going to blanch them to get the skin off. So we're going to put on a pot of water, and while that water is heating up, we'll prepare the tomatoes. And when I say prepare the tomatoes, I mean we're just going to take it off the vine. There's really not a lot of prep work for this recipe. It's mostly waiting around for the water to boil and for the sauce to cook. We're going to add some salt to this water. So we're going to start adding them in. They only need to cook for a couple of minutes just to get the skin off. And then we'll shock them in some cold water, and the skin will peel right off. Bring the water to a boil, then add the tomatoes and cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. So while the tomatoes are blanching and getting that water up to heat, we're going to prepare some garlic. Okay, so we're just going to smash this garlic. And the rest of the prep we can just chop up as we go. Just want to get the garlic ready. Let's see how our tomatoes are doing. See, they're starting to split open. Give them a couple seconds. Don't forget about our monthly contest that we will be starting once we reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers. All you need to do to qualify is to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like at least one of our videos. And as our YouTube channel grows, so will our prizes. Don't forget to click the bell and spread the word. My camera went off, but I peeled all the skin. It came right off. It's running under some cold water. We shocked it in some cold water. And once the tomatoes are done, you see the skin coming right off. Put the water on for the pasta. We get that going while we cook the sauce. We can always shut it off after it's hot. So we missed the most important part of me peeling these the skin off these tomatoes. Basically, once they start to split, just put them in shock them in some cold water, and the skin will peel right off. And then you'll have basically what they normally look like when you buy whole tomatoes in a can. All right, now we're going to start to brown our garlic, and we're going to cut these tomatoes up, and we're going to take the core out, and we're going to chop them into bigger pieces, and then we're going to blend them down later. So let's put this on. I'm going to add some decent amount of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to throw our garlic in there. And while the garlic is heating up, we're going to start to cut our tomatoes. We're going to start by taking the core out. Okay, while our garlic is cooking, we're going to start cutting these tomatoes. We're just going to cut them into bigger pieces like that. Once the garlic is brown, we're going to remove it from the pan. We're going to throw some back in there, and we're going to use some as a garnish on the pasta. So I'm just starting to throw some of these tomatoes in here. Let's clean up our work area a little bit before we move on to the next stage. We are going to add some fresh basil to the tomato sauce. I have some fresh oregano that I picked from my garden. Fresh oregano is hard to come by unless you grow it yourself, so if you can only get the dry, use that. So fresh. Put it all in there. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit on that. I'm going to let that simmer down for about a half hour. Okay, so the water's boiling for the pasta, but my sauce is not ready, so we're going to cover that, shut it off. It'll come right up to a boil, and we're going to focus now just on our sauce here. Before I do that, I'm just going to put this parsley I'm going to use for garnish. Okay, some of this garlic I'm going to use again. I'm going to keep some of these pieces here. I'm going to dice them up, and I'm just going to make a garlic crumble. And the rest of this we're going to put in here. So I'm going to wind up pureeing the sauce now, and the garlic will also get pureed. This is hot sauce, and you want to make sure that you completely submerge. Does that look awesome? All right, so let's dice up this garlic really fine. So what I'm going to do in the saute pan, I'm just going to brown this up a little bit, but it's a little bit extra virgin olive oil. Not burn it. We're going to make it crunchy. Okay, just a little bit of oil. We're going to cook the garlic low and slow. We don't want to burn. It's like a garlic crumble. We're just going to sprinkle on top of the pasta. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Let me shut this off. I'm going to bring this back over. And we're ready for the pasta. We're going to season this up now with some salt and pepper. We have not added anything yet as far as salt and pepper. If your sauce gets a little thick on you, you can always add water, and if it gets too thin, you can just let it reduce down some more. You could also puree it down more. It is time to do our first taste test. Let's see where we're at. We use more salt. This needs to cook more. After blanching the tomatoes and removing the skin, you're going to need to cook this sauce for about 45 minutes to make sure it's cooked all the way through. Now, I wouldn't say that divine tomatoes are the most ideal tomatoes. I kind of missed the boat. Actually, I made this a few weeks ago, last month, when all the Heirloom tomato were blooming in New Jersey and New York. And the sauce was so delicious. I didn't have time to make it on the show, and that season has passed. I think it ends in August. So next year, we're going to go to the farm, and we're going to pick some tomatoes, and we're going to make this again. But this is just as good, but the Heirloom and the Jersey tomatoes really make an awesome sauce. The water back on for the pasta. Just come right up to a boil. I got some thick spaghetti, so I'm going to use that. You can use whatever you like, any type of pasta you like. I'm going to add some salt to the pasta water. And let's add our pasta. Okay, so we are ready to go. The pasta is ready. We're going to just grab some of this pasta. We're going to put it in here. We're going to drain and cool off the rest of this pasta. Now we're going to add a little bit of sauce. Toss this around. And a little Pecorino Romano cheese. Okay, we're going to ladle a little bit of sauce on the bottom of the plate, in the center. Let's see if I can spin this nicely. Throw a little more sauce on top. Let this crumble. Homemade fresh tomato sauce with spaghetti. You eat, you want to eat? Make this recipe. It's delicious. Okay, that wraps up this week's recipe of spaghetti with fresh tomato sauce. I hope you enjoy this recipe. It's not that difficult. Sorry about the blunder with the peeling of the tomatoes, and my camera was not on. But again, you just gotta boil the tomatoes until they start to split a little bit, and then shock them in cold water, and you can just take your thumb and just peel the tomatoes with it. Just the skin will come right off. So let's give this a taste test. So fresh and so delicious. Well, that wraps up this week's episode and recipe of spaghetti with fresh tomato sauce. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did eating it. Thank you for joining me today. We will be back next week with a new recipe. You have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Here's an offer you shouldn't refuse. Subscribe to this channel.